Public comment then. Let me bring in Susan Miller, followed by Andy Kowalczyk.
Hello, Susan Miller on behalf of the Alliance for Affordable Energy and Sierra Club. While we agree with the idea of having Louisiana Public Service Commission and the FERC and the NERC investigate this, my concern is with how your FERC resolution is written. Prior to my current position, I actually worked for FERC for 7 years in the General Counsel's office. I do not believe simply sending them your resolution is going to get the reaction you hope for. What I would respectfully propose is that you direct the advisors to file a formal complaint or a formal motion for investigation, however they feel is the best way to style it, and put it before FERC in their formal process manner to make sure they at least have to. And what will happen then when you file it is people will comment on whether FERC can do anything. So that will force FERC essentially to at least have an initial process so that you can get what I believe you're looking for. And with regard to...
We're kind of taking a two-part approach. We're doing both.
Okay. And with regards to where you told the advisors to file comments in the FERC proceeding, I just want to point out that that's a generic proceeding with regards to, so it won't really get down to the nitty-gritty of Entergy's system, even if you file comments on it. I don't believe that that's what that generic proceeding is designed to address, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to file comments in it, but it just might not play out in the way you expect it.
Perfect. Ms. Miller, why don't you get with Aaron Spears and discuss this a little further, okay?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Andy Kowalczyk, and then followed by, it looks like Shonda Kintaw. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Okay.
Good morning, and it's great to be here in person. I haven't done that for a year now. Yeah. This is something that's really close to my heart because this is something that I consult on day to day in my day job. And, I wish that we were here talking about something that was, more forward thinking. But once again, we're reacting to a pattern of extreme weather events that's only been increasing. And the urgency of today's agenda is really easy for me to comprehend with regards to how Entergy is playing their system. Their system is the product of years of investment decisions that are aimed at treating the grid as a highway system for their own power plant assets. They've consistently blocked efforts by the MISO grid operator to build regional reliability projects. This has been something that's happened in cost allocation proceedings, which is what Deanna Rodriguez referred to as cost share. And I think that there's been way too much of a stress on what the down payment is on these things instead of what their return is. Because we're running a deficit right now. We're throwing money into a transmission system that has $2.1 billion in damages just for 1 year of heavy weather events. Laura, Delta, Zeta, Uri, and now Ida, which is coming in at $2.5 billion. For an example of regional transmission projects in the payback, the multi-value projects in the north carry for every $1 spent on these transmission projects, an average $3 in return for those assets. What Entergy cited in response to your letter to MISO, Chairwoman Moreno, is that they're looking at a $30 to $100 billion price tag for these projects. That's spread over 15 states, 16 jurisdictions, and that is for 20 years of contingencies, basically. And they also stretch over 50 to 60 years of these transmission assets. So in the investigation of these projects that are existing in Entergy's portfolio, I really urge that we look at the age of these assets. What's new? What's old? What has been built to a previous wind speed rating that does not reach 150 miles per hour? I think that's really important. We can't keep investing in our grid like we invest in a used car. We can't keep, spending money on one used car after another used car. We got to invest in long-term solutions, especially with the climate disasters that we're facing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Quintal, come on up.
Hi, I'm Shonda Quintel. I am not representing anyone here, but I am with Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, which kind of has, I'm certified in order to talk about climate change, but I'm not doing it right now. What I'm trying to do is explain that this energy issue with the transformers reminds me of the Ford Pinto case back in 1978, where it seems like it was much more cost effective, I guess, to allow cars that should have been recalled because the engine had been placed into the back of the car and redesigned so that the engine would be placed in the front of the car. It was more cost effective for them to allow these cars to remain on the street, and it was cheaper for them to pay out death insurance policies than it would be to recall all the cars and redesign them. The profit motive here is clearly indicating that somebody's doing a lot better than the public here. There is a light bulb in Livermore, California, that was lit in 1901. It is still burning. It is 120 years old. The built-in obsolescence of light, of everything, actually allows these companies to make more because they require you to replace whatever it is. I don't know what the replacement time is on these transformers or the transmissions or whatever it is, and I am totally out of my zone right now. But I'm recognizing the pattern of shafting the consumer so that profiteering is done. So between the light bulb and the Centennial light bulb, the Ford Pinto, and the fact that we are the last stop of Hurricane Alley, that hurricanes are going to continue to come, that even if we stop all emissions today, we will still have another 5 to 8 years of severe climate. It's not going to get better, and no one's done anything at all to limit or stop or make any changes to the emissions. Anything that would really affect the storms that are coming our way, and they're just going to keep coming. You can't keep rigging up the system that we have to make it last just a little bit longer so that more people can be paid, so that more projects can be made. It's just, you're losing people. People are dying and people are moving.
That's your time. Thank you. Do I have any comments online on this one?
Yes, council member.
How many?
5.
Okay, go ahead.
The first comment is from Vera Lester. Please audit in great detail Entergy's evaluation and repair of infrastructure prior to the 2021 hurricane season. Why were Entergy transmission lines able to survive Zeta, which was a Cat 1, but not able to survive the equivalent of a Cat 1 winds of Ida in New Orleans? Please also consider adding an independently elected public service commission responsible only for monitoring and holding our utility companies accountable. S&WB, Entergy, and Cox all need serious help. Michael Delashmere. Entergy's apparent policy for hurricanes effects upon the power grid seem to be entirely reactionary. I have never seen Entergy do any sort of maintenance on the power grid that indicated the company was taking preventative measures to protect the integrity of said grid. They need to take measures to ensure that the power infrastructure is up to snuff so that our power grid is not so vulnerable to the increasingly common hurricanes that blow through the area. Oliver Fletcher. Good morning, council members. My answer may have been answered during the presentation, but to my understanding, the transmission lines did not go down in New Orleans, but in Jefferson, which isn't regulated by this council. This council regulates Entergy New Orleans, not Entergy Louisiana. So what exactly can you all do to hold them accountable? Seems like certain members of this council only doing things so they can post it as an election on Instagram. Catherine Herrera. The state of the utility poles and the lack of upkeep is unacceptable. Given the nature of climate change and the likelihood of increasing intensity and number of hurricanes, we need to consider energy sources that will not lead to loss of power or sustained loss of power in the future. Furthermore, I don't think that the community should have to bear the burden of increased rates given the poor lack of foresight and inability to maintain their system. Zoe Johnson. I strongly support an investigation that reviews whether or not the Entergy systems were being maintained in the way the company claimed they were. With the rates that we have been paying, there is no reason why the equipment shouldn't have been the absolute best that money can buy. I would be disappointed but not surprised if Entergy was lining its own pockets with funds that should have been used on system upgrades. Councilmember, that's the last comment on this item.